Firstly, thank you very much for giving me opportunity to interview you for my YouTube channel and podcast.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
So, I have seen your profile. I came to know that you are a senior product designer in GitLab. You are working in this position for last 1 year, 8 months.
1 year, yeah, 1 year, 7 months. LinkedIn, for some reason, increases it by a month. I don't know why.
So, I thought to tell about you and the work that you are doing and the your work experience to my audience.
Mhm.
So, can
Sure.
you please introduce yourself to my audience?
Oh, sure. Uh, Hello, everyone. I'm Veethika. I am, like Sai said, I'm a senior product designer at GitLab. And like within GitLab, the since it's a DevOps platform, the area that I focus on is continuous integration. So the pipelines that you run, I kind of look at the experience for that. And I've been in design for a very long time now, just that I've been like switching my expertise in that while. I started off being just a visual designer, and then from there on, I took many turns. I even did a master's in toy and game design. And eventually, this is where I landed at.
So, what made you to choose this position?
To do what? Sorry.
What made you to choose this position? You are more into product designing. You want to understand products.
hmm So, while I was working a very different job at the beginning, after I did my master's in design, I got to know about open source. And the environment that I was working in was quite the opposite of that. And it just like, I kept on thinking about that a lot, that why is this happening? Why do I have to work in so much of secrecy while there are some people out there in the world? They're able to share about their work, talk about their work, do everything in the open, collaborate, reuse, remix each other's work. I was very much intrigued by that whole philosophy of openness. So what I did was I kind of I try to figure out if there's any sort of presence that open source has in India, because that's where I'm based out of. And I'm like, it was pretty obvious that it does have a presence, but whether or not a designer could participate in that movement and in what capacity. And luckily, an open source company, which is quite known like as a pioneer of open source, was setting up a design team, and I took that opportunity. It was kind of like moving down a bit in my role, but I still took it because I wanted to work in one such environment. So I worked for this other company for about 2.5 years, and GitLab to me seemed like a very natural progression because I was working on a tool that was enabling users to like code and deploy their product through. And GitLab is a DevOps platform. So expertise wise, I had some background, like some technical background and knowledge about the kind of work that would happen here. And but the stronger reason here was the kind of culture that we have here at GitLab.
So, you're from?
I am from India. I am from the Uttar Pradesh province state, and I live
So,
in Bangalore.
North India.
Yes.
You live in Bangalore, South India.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. You have done your master's degree in industrial design at National Institute of Design.
Right.
So, what made you to take this course?
Sure. I was actually a medical aspirant until I was in my school years, and I chose that profession as my goal because I was exposed to a very limited set of options. And from those 2, 3 options that I was exposed to, I chose medical because of course, I like respect doctors a lot. So I thought maybe that's what I'm meant to be. That's what I should be aiming at. But like a month into the preparations for medical exams, I figured out about something called visual design, and I just took a leap. I was like, I convinced my parents. I did not have any use cases to go to tell them like, look, this person, how successful they are, or what great work they're doing. I did not know any designers. But I'm very thankful that my parents gave me a chance and I was able to make this drastic switch in my career choices. So I did an undergraduation in visual design and advertising, and I was like working different jobs for about 3 to 4 years after that. In fact, I started working while I was in my college. So while doing my undergraduation, I started to work as a visual designer. But I felt that there's something missing. Like I'm not able to get a kick out of my profession or my career. It's not as interesting to me that I thought it would be. So I started looking like what could be my next option. And I went back to people I trust, people I know, people I knew that would guide me in the right direction. And the next choice that I was given was MBA. That, okay, you made a wrong choice once, so maybe this is what you should be doing now. And 1 month into my MBA preparations, I figured out about industrial design. So I prepared for CAT, but I ended up giving an entrance for NID. And I only told this to my parents after I cleared the entrance because it was all happening in secrecy, in low confidence that I don't know whether I would clear this or not. So once I got the admission, I told at my home, and they were fine with it. They did not have any problem. Uh, but industrial design, because I saw that this particular domain was kind of, in my opinion, adding a different dimension to design. So I wanted to rise from just visual stuff, just visual print and web stuff. And industrial design seemed like a pretty different and interesting option to me.
So industrial design means you understand about IT industry or all other industries too?
Industrial design was more like we had a chance to play with materials besides like just um, working on 2D graphics. I had a chance to explore materials. So I worked in different labs, such as I worked with metals, wood, and different kind of materials, different mediums, and many different approaches to design as well. So it was industrial in that sense.
So which is about physical things.
Yes, it was. So there is a disconnect you can see, right? Like what I'm doing today and what I
Yeah,
was trained to do.
that's what I was confused. So you started
Yeah.
in you started as I mean you started your career. You switched from your thought was to do be in a medical field, but you wanted for some reason you shifted to your industrial design.
Yeah. I mean, I have taken a lot of turns, and that's why I tell people that never be afraid to take U-turns in your career graph because it's all right. We are not born knowing everything about this world, and as we go on exploring, we'll find things that interests us more. Right now, where I am in my career, I find myself very comfortable. I like the work that I'm doing. I'm very satisfied by it.
Great. And uh, you did transactional aesthetics and contemporary design anthropology. So which is first time I'm
Yeah.
listening about this. It's your graduation subject, right?
It was actually sort of an elective, a certificate course that I was able to take part in because there was a collaboration between NID and Swinburne Technical Institute. I'm forgetting the whole name of the institute. I'm very sorry. So what happened was there was about a month or more than that long uh, workshop that happened. So as a part of that workshop, so faculty members flew down from Australia from that university, and we it was sort of a residential workshop. So we went away from our college premises. We went to stay for about a month in the Kutch area and work with real artisans, like solving their problem and looking at the uh, I mean, trying to identify the anthropological uh, problems solved. So we had to frame our own research questions by talking to those artisans, and we had to follow a whole process to arrive finally at a solution for them. It was very interesting because Of course, it was a totally completely new area that I was looking at. So I was suddenly sitting in a very remote part of India, which in itself is a very different, it was a different experience for me. And speaking with artisans, we have always used their products, which are labeled under like various, for example, Fab India and other labels, but we have never interacted with them in person and tried to understand what the problems that they are facing while manufacturing those things which are actually sold to people who don't have any idea how they're manufactured. So that was a very interesting experience.
So, what is the difference between your graduation project and your master's project?
My graduation project is my master's project, and that was again something different. So what I did for my graduation project, now we have options, like we can go to different companies and present our briefs that this is what I'm planning to do. Would you sponsor me? And the other way this can happen is a company approach you that we have a project. Would you be willing to take this up as your graduation project? And then we work with them and get it to a finish line. And there's a separate approach that if you want to work on something that you have thought of and you are willing to sponsor it by yourself. So like I said, my major subject in my master's in industrial design was toy and game design. But it happened so that in the 3 semesters or 4 semesters that I'd spent in my institute, I did not make a game at all or a toy. So I thought that, okay, it just hit me as a realization that I would be graduating soon. And in this while, I have never really explored like creating a game or creating a toy. So I prepared a brief for myself that about a topic that I felt very I felt a lot about, which was colonization. So India has a colonial history. So do many parts of the world. And I had very recently been to Mexico City, and I spent quite a long time, like many hours in their anthropological museums. And even though I agree that I should have been interested in that topic since before, and it shouldn't have taken like traveling to a different country and knowing about their colonial history, but I thought that maybe we are not communicating this whole transaction very in a very creative manner to our audience as in to general public. And I wanted to make a game about that. So I wanted to show people like what really happens when colonization uh, is in process. Like we think about it as something very black and white because that's how we are taught in our textbooks that some people arrive, they try to colonize the place and plan. It's all about give and take. Like some people lose something, some people gain something, then maybe they go back and what's left is used in a certain way. But it's the whole situation is so much more complex than that. So I created a game that I called Annex. And through that game, what I tried to show was like both the sides, people who are native to a land and people who are conquestors, like who have come to colonize that land, and how step by step the interactions happen. What is it that both the parties can do to like advance their own interest? And it works better like if we explain things through games because it's not just about simulation. Yes, simulation great, people love simulation, but apart from that people actually get to get involved, get engaged in the whole concept and become a part of it. So imagine you being a part of a process that you want to learn something about. You would obviously get to learn you'll obviously imbibe the learnings more comfortably. So that is what I was aiming at. So I created a game, and it was also showcased in the Global Grad Show in Dubai Design Week. I got a chance to travel there. Um, but that was it. I was never able to monetize on that concept. I couldn't publish it because that was a lot of work.
So, what response you got for the design?
The response was pretty good. Like I said, it was showcased at many different events. So even here in India, in the NASCOM Game Developers Conference, then in Dubai Design Week, and it was also nominated for Index Award, which is for designs which have a positive impact on society. So I was very thrilled to see the impact. But by the time I was seeing the impact, I was already in the IT industry. So I kind of lost an opportunity there.
So, do you think that you got the response that you want after publishing it? I mean, after putting it out?
I definitely think so. But I also feel that I could have done so much more. For example, I did not go above and beyond in taking that concept to the market, to making it available to more people. And I feel that I should have taken more effort in that area.
And what was your second job? I mean,
My
first
second
job
job
after completion of
oh,
your masters.
sure. So my first job that I took after master's was at Samsung Institute of Research, Bangalore. Samsung Research Institute of Bangalore is the right word, yeah, is the right term. And there I was a part of the Android camera team, and I had a chance to work on some pretty interesting camera-related concepts there.
And you are a trainee visualizer at Innovation Worldwide.
Oh yeah, that was long back. I mean, when I was in my undergraduation. So because I was studying advertising, I worked at various different advertising agencies and design houses. So that's from back then.
So how was that experience?
It was good, but uh, it was only good for a while. And very soon I got a very strong feeling that advertising is not for me. I mean, when it comes to the values, I don't think I align with that industry a lot.
And you became a senior designer at Lapa Mudra Creators
Oh,
from 2010 to 2013. You worked there for 3 years, 1 month.
right. So this was a design house, and I was working as a print and web designer there. Web, not so much, print, yes. And like I was handling a few different clients, and the work was pretty much creating graphic design deliverables and infographics for those limited set of clients that were assigned to me. And what I also did besides like while working on this job was I took an additional degree from IGNU. So I was doing another master's on the side, another bachelor degree on the side.
Nice. And you became a senior designer UX at Samsung Electronics. From 2016
Yeah,
to 2017, you worked there for 1 year, 10 months, Bangalore.
yeah, that's right. So
So,
I mean, it was a
what is it about?
very
What is it about, and what you learned there? What your experience?
sure. So while being at Samsung, like I said, I was part of the Android camera team. In fact, we focused on creating interesting concepts for the camera section. I mean, for we worked on camera related features for the flagship Android devices such as Note and the Galaxy S series. And in the process, we also filed for a lot of patents. Yeah, that was a very different version of me when I was working there.
I think camera means more into visual things.
Not really. So it was more about thinking that when you, as a user of, let's say, a Galaxy S series phone, when you take out your phone and you open your camera, what range of things would you be able to do with your phone through the camera? So the possibility is endless there. I mean, right now, when we think of just simple camera, we think about taking about our phone, capturing. But even in the process of capturing, you'll see that there's so many different modes. There are so many different options. So all those things, when they're combined, they kind of form the experience that you're having with your phone camera. So bringing in new features, bringing in new ideas to that was what we were doing back then.
What is the particular thing that functionality you like while designing it or while working on it?
So Samsung cameras, I had always admired that a lot because of the very known how sturdy the phones are and how like decent the camera capabilities were by default without me doing anything. And having such strong capabilities as the base for creating more experience over, it's always fun to do because you know that what you propose could very well be done. Like most often it would be, uh, we would be able to reach our goal with that because the engineering team there was also pretty strong.
And you worked as an interaction designer at Red Hat from 2018 to 2020, 2 years, 5 months. So how was you as a lead designer?
I was an interaction designer, but I was a lead designer for the work that I was doing, which was the landing page of one of their products, which is OpenShift. So this was a very new functionality that was added to the product, which is like as a developer, when you are entering that product. So instead of seeing just numbers, dashboards, and lists, you would actually see a visual interface that's going to communicate everything that's happening, like that's happening within the projects that you're responsible for. So through that interface, you would be able to take actions without going to any of your projects. Like just by moving circles, dragging lines, you would actually be making connections between the resources in your projects. So that was a very interesting project that I got to work on at Red Hat.
Which is about the developer's perspective, topology, view.
Yeah, so that was a topology view, which was interactive, and the interactions resulted in real-time changes in your repository. And we also applied for some awards, and we bagged the Core 77 Community Choice for that.
And now, presently, you're working as senior product designer. So, working in different positions in different companies have different values, different projects, and different way of looking at things. So, can I say you have a like multi dimensional view because of the experiences that you had in different positions?
I would say yes. This is not very unique to me. Many team members that I have here at GitLab, they also have a journey which is not very conventional. And one thing that I've noticed is this unconventional turns that we take in our life, they actually make us what we are. They account for how we think differently from each other, how we choose different approaches for solving different, maybe the same exact problem. And I would say that here's all these turns that I took or U-turns that I took in my career, they have contributed a lot in making my thinking different.
So, you understood the company's perspectives. So, what do you say about the whole thing, the whole experience of yours, work experience of yours in all the positions?
Right. So when I had started working, very initially when I was just out of my undergraduate institute and I looked for jobs or I was already in jobs, that was a very different time. That was a time that I was not aware of the possibilities and opportunities that the world has to offer. And it was a really good thing that I felt uncomfortable in my position and I did not stick to that for a very long time. And I took this leap that I went to a different design college and pursued a different course because it's not just about pursuing a course in an institute like NID. You get to interact with so many different kinds of people, because in that one institute, you have people pursuing masters in 7 different disciplines. So imagine the kind of perspectives that you're exposed to. And since most of those people have come from different parts of India, and India is huge. So like if you move from one state to another, how people think, how they live, it totally differs. So when all of these people, they come together in this one premise, they exchange ideas and they talk about different things. It's like, wow, I wasn't aware of these things. So that kind of contributed, that helped me in thinking about like different things, through like forcing myself to be inquisitive, to question more about things, because I knew that the limit, the line between different disciplines, it's very hazy. So thinking about a problem in terms of as an interdisciplinary problem, rather than sticking to a very strict area where we actually have been conventionally placing it at, that has that institute actually taught me how to do that. And when I came out of it, then I would say the most the incident that made the most difference in my life was when I was exposed to the whole open source culture, because I started dreaming of being like working in an environment where you can openly share. That happened for a while. That happened when I made my first switch to an open source company. But then what was lacking there was designers did not have the same voice as developers would or management folks would. But GitLab gave me that. So this right now is my utopia. And it has the right combination of like everything in this environment. And it's a place where I can, like, I take part in planning and prioritization of UX work. I partner with my product manager very often in understanding new problem spaces. I partner with the development team, and we all do that like very seamlessly and very comfortably. And this wasn't the situation in all of my previous jobs. Like, it was either design first, or it was either design way below management and development. So both of those approaches, they haven't worked very well for me. And I don't think it works well for anyone. So here we are all at pretty much the same plane, and we all get to speak, and we all have a say in all important decisions.
So you are a senior product designer. You understand and you observe and you explore every product that you see in IT.
I try to do that. But so one thing that I have to keep in mind is my primary job is that of a designer. I'm still not a tech person primarily. So I have to stay up to date with every advancement in the design area. And of course, I have to like keep myself up to date with what's happening in the DevOps space as well. So there's already too much going on, like design research, design tools, then what's happening with DevOps, and a lot happens with DevOps. I mean, you would know. It's a place that kind of I would say evolves by seconds. So I try to do that, but I try to stay within the space of products which are like very relevant to me right now. So I don't go on trying to figure out or trying to experiment with products which are new to the space, or which are very different from the work that which have features very different from the ones that I'm dealing with here.
So how your industrial design master's degree is helping you in doing your present work?
So in industrial design, one thing that I learned to do very well was deconstruction, like thinking about the whole concept in parts. And that has helped me here because here at GitLab, as a part of my job, as like being the product designer for continuous integration, I have to deal with features related to pipelines, which are so much more complex. And my like how I used to think was that it is more complex to me because maybe I'm not from a technical background, that uh, like I've never studied these things, and that's why they look so intimidating to me. So I have a habit of, like, I can show you right now that I always keep this notebook with me with a pen. So whenever I'm working on something, I make a lot of notes for myself. But there was one instance when I actually shared my notes, like with those diagrams and with those small infographics that I create for myself to understand a concept. When I shared that, I figured that it was useful for so many different people. And I was like, whoa, I thought that maybe I am hard of understanding technical concepts, and that's why I do this. But it turns out that when you deconstruct something, when you explain something very simply to other people, you are actually enabling them more. And it's not a question about how smart or not smart a person is. Like, as people, we all have our own limited set of capabilities, and we shouldn't run by assumptions. So what I started to do was the drawings that I make for myself, the deconstruction that I do of concepts, I started to write blogs on them. So if you go to GitLab blogs, you would see that I have written many blogs about very technical concepts. I never thought that I would be writing engineering blogs. Like, I had never imagined about that. But here I am doing that. And I'm so glad that it's actually helping people understanding the existing concepts in a better way. Because as a designer, I get to the core of it because I really want to understand. And it's very difficult for me to just look at something from the top and uh, be able to figure out what that, like what those set of interactions, actions, options are actually doing in the background.
Do you observe, I mean, do you relate the real things that you're seeing with your eyes, uh, other than your job, and relate with your designs that you're creating in your job?
Could you reframe that question? I am not able to
I
understand like
mean,
what exactly the answer.
uh, things which are not related to your product design, when you
Mm-hmm.
observe that, for example, mechanical engineering or some other designs which are not completely other from your subject, other products, not your
Right,
products. So
right.
do you relate those things as a which is psychological thing? Will you uh, uh, try to
Like
understand
make
in that way?
correlations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually do that. So, I mean, since I have such a strong visual design history, I did not realize that over the time I've become more of a visual thinker. So when I think visually, I always like make these drawings in my head, connecting the dots. And when I find a system which has any resemblance to the system that I work with, so I'm not talking about the features in particular. I'm talking about those features as a system. Like this block is interacting with this block, this kind of transaction is happening between these two blocks. And when I see a system in the real world somewhere which has a similar kind of interaction or transaction in place, I definitely make a connection. So and that's how I also maybe sometimes try to put some analogies in my blogs that, okay, so think of Git as this like think of, so there's a feature that we call merged trains. Now this is it is not exactly a train, but in my head it is a train. I think of it as a train. So uh, and that's how I have explained it in my blog, that imagine if this was a train.
So what is the difference between connectivity or the designs which are there, which are physical things, and which are there in the virtual world?
To be very honest, I don't see a lot of difference philosophically, but yeah, I mean, both of these worlds, they have their own constraints. Tech has its own constraints. Real life has its, the objects in the real world, they have their own constraints. But otherwise, if I talk at the system level, there are a lot of similarities. So when I'm thinking of, when I'm working on a concept that applies to a physical object in the real world, versus when I'm working on something which is very like, it's a virtual, it's an app. I think I would use similar approaches, just that my approaches would differ in maybe discovering the problems, validating the problems, and how I interact with the pieces, because here I can hold something, there I cannot hold something. So tangibility is a difference, like what I can touch versus what I cannot. And of course, the process of how that the implementation happens. So here with a physical object, because I am a designer, I don't always have to take part in the whole of the implementation phase. Yes, I do partner with developers while the like implementation of these features happen. But if I only have to think of solving a design problem through concepts, there's not much of a difference. Because I might choose not to go to the workshop and actually, flesh out all those small objects and assemble the whole product together at the end. But until that phase, I don't see a lot of differences.
So, what is your favorite nature product design?
My natural product design. So I actually am very interested in architecture and the kind of architectural projects that use that make a lot of good use of natural elements in that space. So I really love those. For example, when we construct houses that kind of are ventilated by itself, or they use the natural light to keep the whole space lit, those things really fascinate me.
So, you're more into using your mind. So, how much mind you use in a day in order to understand all the designs that you're seeing with your eyes?
I can't really quantify that, right? I don't know how to quantify that, but I appreciate when I see a good design. I make a mental note of it. So, for example, if I'm visiting a new place, I would try to visit places which have some pretty good, um, I don't want to use the word specimens, but some exemplary art or design work showcased somewhere. So museums sometimes, yes, but if there's a place where I can actually have an experience of exploring a design, for example, maybe a walkthrough of somebody's house, of an architect's house, or a very popular architectural monument, I would rather pick that up.
So, what GitLab taught you in this experience?
GitLab gave me a very valuable lesson around documenting. So I'm not sure if you are aware of, but we have a handbook which is about 2,000 pages. I mean, it's of course it's on it's on the web. It's not a printed copy that we carry, but with that handbook, what we do is, so whatever practices we have here, whatever processes we follow, whatever workflows we define for teams, every single little thing goes up there and it is documented, and it is regularly updated. So let's say I, as a designer of the pipeline execution team, I maintain my own page. And if there's any change in the direction of my team, how we are going to work for the next quarter, or even for the next milestone for that matter, I'll go and make a change to that. If I make a change in my process, that instead of going to this team after completing this work, I start going to the other team and so on, I'll make a change to that. So at any point of time, if you as an outsider, you go and take a look at that page, you would know how Veethika is working at that time. And why I came to realize the importance of that was because of the pandemic, when GitLab was always remote, but when most of the companies around the world, they started to go remote, and we had a chance to share this handbook with the whole world and actually tell them that, you know what, you can just look at some of the things that we are doing, and if it fits well for you, you can implement it for yourself. And it helped a lot of companies that way. So what we think, and it's a similar lesson that I got with my blogs, right? Because I used to make notes for myself. I never thought of sharing those widely. But the moment I started doing that, I realized that There are many things which I have in common with other people in the world, that they face similar problems. And in fact, what I do by sharing is I kind of empower them to maybe take a few things from there, make something upon that, and share beyond that. And it's fine, because if I'm like putting out a bud of an idea in the world for it to develop into something else, then why not?
So now present you're doing you're working as a product designer. So before masters or before graduation, your thought was to be in medical field. So if I ask
Yeah.
you to relate the passion that you used to have before your education, so right now with the job that you're doing as a product designer, so if you were that, what is the relation between that person, that Veethika, and this Veethika?
That is a very well framed question because you have made me think about it. So that happened when I was, what, about 16, 17 years old, a person who wanted to become something. And that was a goal. And in my head, it was just like I would like read these many books. I'll prepare for this exam, that I'll get to it. But there was no passion. I was not passionate about being a doctor ever. In fact, till date, when I see blood, I feel lightheaded. I even faint sometimes. And today, when I am talking about work, when I'm doing my work, when I'm in action, I'm so passionate about it that sometimes I lose track of time. And I would say there is no comparison between the passion level here. It's like very steep. The difference is too steep.
I can understand you're a very conscious person. So how you are able to be good in designing at the same time, be good in communicating and explaining the art or the design that you created or that you understood with the people, with your team members or with other people. How how you develop these two skills?
Sure. So as designers, being a good communicator is like our superpower, like a superpower that we should possess. Otherwise, what we work on is pretty much it goes in vain. So, because any work of design, it only has a value if it can be worked on, and it can only be worked on if there's a good amount of collaboration between the people who are in the picture, right? So, if I'm communicating the concept to, let's say, my product manager, and there needs to be some sort of conviction in my tone. So I have to make sure that what I'm saying, it doesn't sound like I'm saying things just for the sake of saying, but it should be convincing. It, people should buy what I'm saying. So that's a phase that where my sales skill have to be good enough. So my what I'm trying to put forward, it is actually bought by the other side. And then when I'm working with the developers in the team, I have to make sure that I understand what their constraints are. And I'm not just like throwing my ideas in the picture, being like a very inconsiderate person, because it's in everybody's interest if we work knowing what each of those constraints are, because then we would be like doing work more efficiently. So I wouldn't create a workflow that so in my head I would be like, oh, I'm creating such a perfect flow for the product, and every user is going to be so happy. And I would say I don't even care if we have or if we don't have the capability technically to do this. Maybe people should just make this happen. So that kind of arrogance doesn't have any. I'm The arrogance is, I would say, it's not going to yield anything, right? We are all here for the same reason. We care for the product. We are working to make the product more usable. So we have to work as a team. We have to learn about each other's constraints, and we have to respect each other, because everybody is equally important part of this whole. I would say the sort of like everybody is an equally important gear in the system.
So it's really inspiring. You are changing yourself, you are shifting yourself, and you are adopting yourself, uh, working in different positions, which is not very easy for every person. You're doing that, and also you're you're being the reason for productivity, construction of products, and you're making things possible with the team members by communicating with them, at the same time being very good in understanding and putting uh, the the mind on visual things and trying to understand the connectivity between things. How this whole thing is working for you? What is your motivation? What is driving you?
What is driving me to know that what I'm creating is adding value, adding value to not just a product, but the world that I live in. So lately, it has become very important for me, especially in the current environment, that I am not making this place any worse than it in the like than I saw it as. But uh, my work should always have a positive impact on the environment and the world around me. So right now, that's why I appreciate being here, because people in GitLab, they are very respectful of each other. Everybody has a voice, and to a much higher extent, I feel that the work that I'm doing is having a positive impact on the world.
So I have last two questions. So what do you say about this universally create natural product called Planet and the design that you are observing?
The design that I'm observing. So, I wasn't prepared for that one. But I constantly feel that, yes, we have taken a lot of wrong decisions in our lives, and we are kind of, it's a very, it will, by design, this world is very efficient, just that we are becoming extra problematic and we are challenging this planet a lot to keep itself sustainable. The planet in itself, it's a very well designed place, just that we, as the small parts of this ecosystem, we are not doing our job well. So lately, I made many changes in my own approaches. So earlier, it was when it came to buying new things, it was more of a question of whether or not I could afford it. But the more I started to follow everything that's happening to the planet, the kind of harm that humans are doing to the planet, and how everything is going downhill, I changed the narrative, at least in my home, to buying only the things that we think that the planet can afford and not what money can buy. I think that there needs to be a lot many shift that needs to happen in our perspectives going forward, and it's fine. So far many of us have made mistakes. I have made a lot of mistakes. I there was a day when I opened my wardrobe and I was like, oh my goodness. I mean, not even 10% of my wardrobe is I would say it used to be like natural fibers. So I kind of thought of the impact that would that when all of these things which are in my wardrobe, and at some point of time they would land up in landfills, then the kind of impact they'll have on the environment. These are not the things I used to think before, but now I have to, because the situation around me is forcing me to, and that's for good. That's not for bad, of course. Uh, yeah, I mean, we have to do our part in making sure that by design, how good this planet is, how sustainable it was made to function as, it is able to function that way. And if we can't make anything better, we should at least try not to make things worse. And it's not that hard.
So one last question. So uh, the natural thing, the nature created thing called human being, you understand, the design. If it is a product and if mind is a product, so there will be a lot of functionalities that you will be seeing in the thought process of a person when you are communicating with them. So how, like you said in the beginning, you want to connect the dots. So are you able to connect every dot that is there in other person who's talking with you? Because if that is a thought process, if that is a product and it is a design, are you able to be very connective even with the human beings, not only with the design, with the product design, the physical things, or the artwork that you're doing?
I would say my profession has a lot of effect on how I communicate with other people now. So I definitely don't arrive at judgments too soon, because just like the approach that we take in our research is we analyze that, okay, if this person said this particular statement in the research interview, what was actually going on in their head? Because what happens is most times what we speak is not what we actually intend to communicate. So as designers, we train ourselves. We train ourselves to understand that what is the underlying motivation, or what is the underlying message that the interviewer is trying to pass on to us. And we have to like very carefully distill that out of the conversation. So that kind of makes us more thoughtful of any situation. So lately what has been happening is when I have a conversation with someone and someone reacts in a certain way, I don't take the reaction as like, a very one off communication. I actually think about like what this person would have gone through, maybe in their day, maybe in their week, and why this reaction has finally landed in to me on me in this situation. And that's for good, because we often take these small interactions that we have with people that like on the go in our lives, that we only make a judgment based on those few seconds. But if we just take a little time and think of the journey, the smaller bit of the journey, of course, not like considering like their whole life history, but a smaller bit of the journey, like what the person is going through, what the conditions that they were exposed to before they kind of met you in the situation, and why they would have reacted that way. That little thoughtfulness, it changes a lot, because it controls how you react to the situation.
So, at last, what do you say to the product designers, software product designers, or other manufacturing people who are working in other industries, who are watching and listening to our conversation from anywhere on this planet? What do you say when it comes to product designing? What advices or thoughts that you want to tell to them?
So for product design specifically, I would say I'm not the expert, and I'm not the absolute expert to tell people how to do their job. But yes, I would have a message for people who are trying to figure out their journeys in life, like especially the young folks who think that they have to, nail down their absolute career goal at a very young age. You don't have to do that. I mean, as you go on living, you would get to know a lot about life, and you would get to know a lot about yourself. Just place your faith in your own instincts, and you would land at the right place at some point of time.
So, as a product designer, what do you say about my design? Have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube? What is your design that came into your mind when you saw my channel?
I appreciate that the diversity you bring in the content. Yeah, it's like I was trying to find a pattern and I couldn't, and I appreciate that there is no pattern. Like you speak to people from so many different walks of life. That's very interesting. Yeah, and in fact, I would want to hear from you that speaking to so many people from so many different professions and walks in life, what has been your learning so far? Like, what's the one learning that you would want to share?
Yeah, so I think like you said, like you see, every product has its own functionalities, its own design. So I see human beings and their minds as having different, they have their own thought process, they have their own work experiences and the personal experiences. Not only tech
Right.
industry, I'm talking with different country people, trying to understand what they are doing in their life, not just
Mm-hmm.
work experience, just trying to know, being like having a complete blank mind coming and talking with you. Like I'm feeling like, I want to know what you experienced. I want to know what happened in your life, how you made things possible, how uh, how that particular thought, like you said, your graduation, before graduation, you have that thought, and you settled in this position. So I want to understand this shifting things, how you are able to do that. So I want to put that in my my mind or my collection, so that if I work for a company, or if I work in a very big position in a company, so if they give me a lot of responsibilities, if they ask me to do this, so I want to understand the entire thing, which is what a CEO or a founder of a company, need to know, not about a particular thing. So I just wanted to communicate, and also want to prove that a particular uh, part of the planet person, a human being, can able to and connect with any human being and who is into any profession, and without having any judgmental, that kind of thing in the mind. Just want to be take what life is giving, how the people are, just accept what world is. So that actually makes world very positive. And also I want to send this positive message. This all experts like you, people who worked in different positions. I want to send this message through my medium. I created this medium through my YouTube channel, through my podcast, all the mediums. I want to send this message. Even if your experience changes one person or the thought process of the one person, if you be the growth of somebody's uh, family, or the head of the family person, that not only for you, it also helps uh, as a human being, you are doing something for somebody's wellness. That's my view.
That's a good thought. And I'm so happy that you're doing this.
And I feel very happy that you accepted my request and accepted to be on my show.
Yeah, this was fun.
So, can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
Yeah, sure.
And also, can I put this audio and video clip on my podcast, website, internet, social media, everywhere with your permission?
Yeah, not a problem. Sure.
You want me to share any web links of yours people can follow or can see what the work that you're doing or the projects that you're doing?
I mostly share about my works on Twitter because I'm slowly moving away from LinkedIn. But right now, everything should be on my website. But I'm being very lazy. I I think that day would it's very near when my website would be updated, maybe a month or so. So maybe that link.
Yeah, I saw your website is under construction. I'm sure when you put that, I'll put your website link also in the description. People who finds a video from anywhere on this planet, they'll see the work that you're doing and can see how it will help them in developing their skills.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Veethika, for your time and for your energy.
Thank you, Sai, for having me. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.